Hello, this is Mark here at Gary's Guitars in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I'm here to talk about the race to the bottom. So, what do I mean by that? Well, I'm talking about retail. For those of you who don't know, I run a small independent guitar store and also a small independent record store now. But I do a lot of these videos about my experience as a retailer, and this one is going to speak most about general retail, not just guitar retail or what's happening in the guitar market, but as I learn it through selling guitars, how it affects our entire ecosystem. So I'm going to get into it. Here we go. Traditionally, since the time of Sears and until the end of Sears probably, retailers kind of had three pillars, three aspects to their operation. One is price, so pricing, we'll call that. We'll call the middle one selection, and we'll call this other pillar service. And so everything can kind of like be put into those three facets for the retailers. And so these are all kind of balancing act. You could have great service and high prices sometimes, or you have low prices and low service. That kind of work. High prices and bad service usually wouldn't work. Selection, same thing. And this right up until kind of the 21st century kicked in. And this was kind of, and this was different for everyone. People put different importances. Some people always wanted the lowest possible price and didn't care about the other aspects. Some people wanted good service and would pay a little more to get that service. Some people wanted to have the best selection. And we can remember Guitar Center used to be that. Like, I'm not going to Guitar Center just because they got everything. And that was like selection was that big thing. And not even lowest prices necessarily. You can get better deals somewhere else maybe. But they had everything. And so it means different things to different people. But just for the sake of this case study, we'll assign 33% to each aspect. So a third of people cared most about price, a third of people cared most about selection, and a third of people cared most about service. So fast forward to the 21st century. What's going on? We have the race to the bottom. Pricing going down. So these two aspects I was talking about here, selection means something different now, because there was a time when we had to kind of figure out what existed at all. You're like, I want to play the guitar. What kind of guitars are there and where are they? And we had to do research. We had to talk to people. We had to read magazines and books. And, the knowledge just wasn't out there. But because of the internet, which tells a lot of things, some of which are true, YouTube, I love this YouTube thing. This is great. I use YouTube as a resource, and hopefully so do you, and hopefully you get that kind of resource out of here. Good information. So yes, you can find the selection through the internet. You can understand, like, well, I don't need to look at every guitar because I just want a Strat. So I'll just go somewhere that has a lot of Strats. So the absolute, I got to try a Les Paul and then a Strat, that becomes less important. And then over here, we have service. Well, the internet also tells us, it gives us lots of information. Like I said, lots of bad information, lots of good information. So the fact that the person you're buying the thing from isn't necessarily the most knowledgeable person is less important now. And then we have price, which kind of inverse. High price, low price. People want the lowest possible prices. So kind of the price thing has become so much more important. Everyone's making their decisions based on the price of things, not necessarily the selection of the store or the knowledge of the staff. That's the race to the bottom. Because when you use money as your only barometer of yes or no, good or bad, things are going to get bad for you. I just like to say this because we're living in this world where money some people are short on money, and you got to worry about money. But when I say only barometer, I just mean if you choose the person you marry based on whether or not they have money, if you choose the car you drive based on how much it costs and not the value it provides to you, if there's a lot of things in life. There's this kind of funny saying that economists love McDonald's. Because if you sit down and do the math, McDonald's is the best food. It, for the amount of calories you get versus how quick it comes out versus, how much time it takes to do versus how much you pay for it. It all, to an economist, it all makes sense. Of course, McDonald's is not the best food. But if you just do the numbers, it is. So if you just do the numbers based on the food you're going to put in your body and the guitar you're going to buy and the person you're going to dedicate your life to and the car you're going to drive, you're going to have problems down the road. Now I know there's trolls out there typing in the comments already. This guy looks like he goes to McDonald's. No, I don't. I don't. That's just my cautionary tale here in the middle of the video. If you have to make decisions based on not just money, and if you use money as your only barometer, you start to make bad decisions. So here we are in retail, 2025, and money is the only differentiator. That it doesn't mean everything becomes the Gucci store. It means everything becomes the dollar store. So the race to the bottom is just goes with a lot of just low quality products, and we can see this on Amazon right now. I see it on Amazon. I use Amazon. Sometimes I have a long history with Amazon, and or not just Amazon, eBay. I loved eBay for so long. As far as getting good cheap stuff, you can't get good cheap stuff. You just get cheap stuff. And because price is the only differentiator, and if someone wants to sell a lot of stuff, they got to sell it for the lowest possible price. Now, there was a business model for small businesses, even like us, which was just a high volume model, and this kind of came around with the internet sales thing. Well, look, I'll just sell online. I'll specialize in one thing. I'll buy 200 snarks, and I'll sell 100 snarks a day, and I'll make $2 on each snark I sell, and that means at the end of the day I made $200. And that's all I need to eat and pay my mortgage. So that's my business now. And that's not enough either. And that's something I stayed away from, fearing the next step, which is coming up, which is that race to the bottom kind of squeezes that. And as we're in a game that's no longer the game where the rules have changed, especially the involvement of private equity, and I talk about this in these videos. Oh no, private equity coming in, and private equity bought Dave's Hot Chicken for $1 billion. This, which 8 years ago was a food truck. Oh no, they didn't even have a truck. They were just setting up in like markets and stuff. And so private equity is hungry for business, and they come in and they love the race to the bottom because it makes great sense if you just crunch the numbers. So let's talk about the future. Where is this leading us? Like I said, it's leading us further into that well. I, as an independent retailer who I haven't really been concerned with the race to the bottom as much, I've been emphasizing service and selection and keeping the prices, as kind of like, we do map pricing, essentially. We just offer everything for the same price it is everywhere, kind of. And we have some good deals sometimes, and we have stuff that's where we'll sit on and wait till someone buys it, because it's good stuff. Anyways, old-fashioned retail is kind of a little safer in this storm, because now we look at stores let's say like Best Buy. Are you familiar with Best Buy, a chain of electronics and home goods stores? Their big thing was selection. We have these huge stores, and we have everything. And they put Radio Shack out of business and all these other kind of electronic stores and every little stereo shop, because this is Best Buy and we got everything. Just come in, look at everything, poke it, try it, bring it back if you don't like it. And if you walk into a Best Buy today, it's kind of creepy. There's not a lot of people in there, at least the one that's near me. And they're kind of spreading the inventory out in certain ways to because some of the stuff they used to sell isn't even relevant anymore. And now every, big TV used to be their thing, and every big TV costs $200, and they're all kind of the same as each other even. It's hard to even find a brand to want, at any price. So, so if we look at something like that, that's the result of the race to the bottom, where we have the stores are just what's available to us is less so because prices become so paramount in the selection of things. What to do about it? I don't know. Sometimes you're gonna wait till things blow up to rebuild them, and so that's kind of like, when will the race to the bottom stop? Well, low prices might be a thing of the past because the economy's going a little crazy, but we'll see how that goes. That's all I can say. But thanks for coming this far and watching this entire video. Before you go, check out all the other videos here on YouTube. Subscribe and like and all that stuff. And we hope to see you soon. And thanks for watching.